Tonight's show is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Hello, baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Welcome into On Deck, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Really do appreciate it. It's an exciting night for the Braves. If you don't know already, the Braves, of course, did win this series versus the Guardians in a walk-off fashion. Austin Riley able to put bat on ball and knock Ronald Acuna in extra innings. The second game in a row that the Braves were in extra innings. This time, though, they were able to win. And what a night it was, what a game it was. The Braves were able to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Matt Olson knocked in the tying run. Austin Riley knocking in the winning run. Of course, those two guys were, a large talking point for us because they weren't performing extremely well. It was noticed that they were kind of the two that, out of all the guys in the lineup, they weren't exactly performing extremely well. We're going to talk about that more later, but I told you last Thursday after the series against the Marlins that I was excited for the next few series because it was the first place Guardians who we just wrapped up against. Then we have the first place Mariners. That's followed by the first place Dodgers. The reason I was excited about that, which I know you're out there thinking, well, Tyler, why would you be excited about that? But the reason I was excited about it was it's a chance for us to kind of expose our weaknesses. It's a chance for us to see what works and what doesn't. And it's a chance for us to throw Bryce Elder out there and let him sink or swim. And that happened today. Bryce Elder, I didn't think pitched bad. He did not have the exact stellar performances of Chris Sale and Charlie Morton. Both of those guys go in 7 innings, only allowing 1 run for Chris Sale and not allowing any runs for Charlie Morton. Elder pitched 5 1/3 today. He scattered around 4 hits, gave up 2 earned runs, also gave up 4 walks and had 2 strikeouts. Again, I didn't think he pitched bad, especially considering this is a first-place team who is playing good baseball right now. But I did think we saw some weaknesses, right? And, I was overall pleased with it. But again, as I mentioned, this wasn't, what we're going to get out of Max Fried. It's not what we're going to get out of Chris Sale, and it's certainly not what we're going to get out of Charlie Morton either. But he did give you a chance to win, which the Braves were able to do in the late innings. He did not get the win, but the Braves did, and that's really all that matters. In terms of the bullpen, I thought everybody was pretty all right, with the exception of Tyler Matzik in Game 1. He looked a little off, but he seemed to be right back to normal today. Pierce Johnson looked good. I feel really bad for Joe Jimenez because in Game 2, if you've watched the game in its entirety, in Game 2, it was a rough outing for Joe Jimenez, but it wasn't really his fault. If you know what BABIP is, it's batting average on balls in play. The Guardians had an extremely lucky BABIP inning because, you're talking 3 infield hits that just found holes, and the ground ball just wasn't hit hard enough for the double play type of thing. I felt really bad for him because he ended up giving up the runs that would lead to the Braves losing. But I overall, I didn't think he pitched bad, obviously. It wasn't a lot of hard contact for sure. So all in all, with the pitching, I thought everything looked good in the first 2 games, especially today. Bryce Elder's going to be... He's going to be a watch and see type of guy. Today wasn't bad. I'm excited to see what he does. He'll probably face the Dodgers, I would imagine, based on the way things are shaking out right now. I would expect him to face the Dodgers in the next couple of series. He's not going to face the Mariners, so I expect him to see what he does there. I think that's going to be a real test for him, and I'm excited to see it. Because, look, I want Bryce Elder to go out there and throw 6 innings scoreless against L.A. That would be great. But again, it's all about exposing our weaknesses and seeing, hey, can Bryce Elder be a guy that we can count on not only in the first half, not only in a spot start regimen, but also in a latter half of the season, postseason race, and well into the playoffs? Can he be a guy that we can count on? Or do we need to explore other internal options? Or do we need to explore the trade deadline, trade market, whatever the case may be? That's where we are right now with Bryce Elder because he has not proven himself. Yes, he was an all-star last year. Yes, he had a great first half. But after that, he really fell off. And since then, the Braves have certainly not been confident in just giving him the job. That's why they stretched out Reynaldo Lopez, who, by the way, has looked great so far this season. I'm looking forward to seeing him take on Luis Castillo and the Mariners in Game 2 of that series. But so far, Bryce Elder's our real one question mark. And think about this. If we still had Strider healthy, right, where you had a 1-2 punch of Strider and Fried, followed by Sale and Morton, and then you had Reynaldo Lopez pitching like he's pitching right now, you'd feel really good about your starting rotation. It's unfortunate what happened to Strider, but of course it is next man up and they have to push through. But all in all with Bryce Elder, I think, again, it's all about one start into another. We saw a decent start in his first outing against the Marlins. We saw a decent start here. I hope we see a decent start in his next outing. That would be great because at least we know what we have. If we find something in the trade market to upgrade, great. But at least we know what we have going into the latter half of the season. So that's my take on the pitching staff. And I think all in all with our pitching staff, we have as good a pitching staff as anybody. I think we had a better pitching staff than we've had in a long time when Spencer Strider was on the mound for us before he got hurt. I think we really had something special there, and of course, we never really got to see it in its entirety because when Strider was on, Fried wasn't on, all of everything wasn't moving together, and I think we would be seeing that now. That's why this is so unfortunate. But again, the pitching staff does look good at the moment, and again, I still think it's as good as anybody's. Chris Sale has exceeded expectations for me, at least. I know he's probably met expectations for a lot of you guys, but coming off, a couple of years where he didn't do a lot, what he's done so far has been really encouraging. With Charlie Morton, he just continues to defy age and numbers and everything else. If he can give you one last solid run this year, that's going to be special. Reynaldo Lopez has been the real surprise, though. I mean, a guy who was a reliever last year, he had an ERA north of 4, has given you, I believe, 4 really good starts so far this year. Now, granted, the opponents he's faced has not, we talked about that last week. It's been the White Sox and the Marlins and, the Astros who weren't playing great ball at the time. Their record speaks for itself, but we haven't seen him face someone who I say that would make me feel confident in him pitching in the postseason, I guess. I haven't seen that out of him, and it's too short of a sample size. 4 starts, he's been great, but 4 starts is not enough for me to say, yep, that guy's the real deal. He's been great so far. It's going to be a watch and see thing with him as well as it is Elder. But I think where we are right now is really, really encouraging. And, of course, I would love to know what you guys think about it. Put it down in the comments section below. And, by the way, while we're mentioning that, we have changed the structure of the show a bit. I know a lot of you guys are used to just getting in your comments, listening to me for about 10 minutes, and then me going for a whole hour on comments. The show's changed a little bit different. We have commercial breaks now. All of the comments are going to be held to the end, so just be prepared for that. We are about to move into our second segment. When we get back, we are going to talk about the offense and where things stand as of right now. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. And please, while we're in break, please make sure to like the video. It really helps us get it out there to other Braves fans. It helps us grow our audience. So if you support the channel, all you got to do is press that like button. Thanks.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off. And the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $6,750 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $8,500 off. No payments until the end of summer. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back in, guys. Thank you again for being here tonight. Really do appreciate it. And coming into this season, everybody expected the Braves offense to immediately be hitting on all cylinders and to be putting up record numbers just like they did in 2023. Why wouldn't you, right? But so far this year, the offense has been rather interesting. We've seen a little bit of everybody be a hero. We've seen Travis d'Arnaud have a ridiculous stretch of 5 homers and 8 at-bats. We've seen Michael Harris walk it off. We've seen Marcel Ozuna go nuts at the plate so far this year. Adam Duvall has had a few moments. Jared Kelenic has exceeded all expectations that he had in spring training. We've seen a lot of that this year. It's been really interesting, and it's been honestly fun to watch. It's been great TV, but there has been some concern about the upper half of our order. And what I mean by that is, through 26 games, Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, and Austin Riley have only combined for 9 homers together. For perspective, Marcel Ozuna has 9 all by himself, and you could say that that is due to Marcel Ozuna having an incredible pace so far, and I'll give you that. But even Travis d'Arnaud has 5 homers. And it's just not what you expect out of the guy who won the MVP last year with 1 homer, a guy in Ozzie Albies, granted he's been hurt, but a guy in Matt Olson who had 55 homers last year, a guy in Austin Riley who had a lot more homers last year. It's not what you would expect. So the question is, should we be concerned about the offense? Well, to me, the only thing we need to be concerned about is the win and loss column. And so far, the Braves have been pretty good in that department. They are still leading the National League East, and by a couple of games. It's early, but they are still holding that lead, and that's with a whirlwind of injuries that caught us all very early with, of course, Ozzie Albies, of course, Spencer Strider, and Sean Murphy. We're still not at full health, even excluding Spencer Strider. I don't know that we're ever going to be considered at full health considering he's out for the year. But we are not at full health. We are still leading the division. We are still playing good baseball. I think to a minimal, yes, because you do want to see them break out of their slumps. Matt Olson, of course, just went through a little mini slump. Nice to see him and Austin Riley kind of break through today and have some big hits and big moments. Of course, Matt Olson had the broken bat single to center field that knocked in the tying run, and of course Austin Riley smoked one up the middle in extra innings to knock in Ronald Acuna. And speaking of Ronald Acuna, I did want to say this. When it comes to whether or not you should be worried about Acuna, this is what I'm going to say. The guy gives you so much more than home runs. Would we all like to see him hit 50-80 or 40-70 or whatever he could possibly do? Of course we would. But with his wheels, he can do so much more. He gives you great defense. He gives you the ability to score on nothing. You know, I mentioned the other day the Ricky Rally, which is getting a walk, going to first, stealing second, stealing third, sac fly, knocks him in. Acuna gives you a very similar performance, right? He has that ability he's the most feared runner in the league. And if they're not going to pitch to him, he should take his walks because of who he has batting behind him. Now, in terms of Matt Olson and Austin Riley, I don't believe this is going to last. It doesn't last for great hitters. I think today could very well be that turning point where these guys are locked in and they're ready to go. And not to say that they haven't tried before, but I think they're at a point now where you've seen things happen, right? That'll tell you when a guy's going to break out of a slump, right? It may be that Matt Olson smokes one straight into the glove of the first baseman. It may be that he's hitting it the other way, but he's still getting out. Whatever the case may be, today I think he might have broke out of it. And all it takes is one bloop hit, and all of a sudden a guy's going to break out. So I think he's going to break out. I think Riley's walk-off is really going to help him, and I certainly hope so. But I definitely think this offense has got more to offer than home runs. Was it absolutely awesome to see the Braves tie the Twins in 2019's record last year and for homers? Yes, of course it was. But this offense is a lot more than that. This offense can kill you in a lot of different ways, right? We spoke last week about Marcel Ozuna. We're going to talk about him here in a few minutes too. But Marcel Ozuna has figured out his role in this offense, right? It doesn't always have to be being the guy that hits the homers. Granted, he's been the guy who hits them the most. Doesn't always have to be that. He takes walks now. That's why his average is a lot better. His on base is a lot better. And naturally, his home run numbers are going to go up because he's forcing pitchers to pitch to him. He's not swinging over the top of pitches anymore. And I think a lot of these guys are going to start figuring out their roles. It also doesn't help when a guy like Ozzy Albies has been out. I think him being back in the lineup is going to be a good thing for not only himself, but also guys like Matt Olson and Austin Riley, because Ozzy Albies does do one thing, and that's get on base, right? And when you have a threat on base for Austin Riley, for Matt Olson, it's going to provide them better pitching. They're going to have to pitch to him. And look, there's just a lot of different ways this Braves offense can kill you when it's fully healthy. And, there's another guy here, Sean Murphy. Chadwick Tromp has done his job these past few weeks. I think he's done a very good job at what he needed to do, especially behind the plate. But it's a big difference going from Chadwick Tromp to Sean Murphy, right? All-star last year, can give you homers when needed. Travis d'Arnaud's had a great run so far this year. I hope that we see more of him throughout the end of this year based on what we've seen so far. But Sean Murphy is going to be stellar behind the plate. He's going to give you defense that you otherwise would not have. He's going to give you a much better bat on the days that d'Arnaud's not playing. And I really think that's going to be a big factor as well. A lot of this is going to be, when are the Braves going to be fully healthy? You can't fix Strider, but you've gotten Ozzy back. You're getting Sean Murphy back. Things are about to start rolling for this Braves offense. Mark my words. Now, that all said, we're going to go to another break. When we get back, we're going to talk about a big topic that you guys have brought up that I've seen on the socials everywhere. Should we re-sign Marcel Ozuna? That's coming up next.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into GLYNN Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off. And the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at GLYNN Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
It's truck season at GLYNN Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $6,750 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $8,500 off. No payments until the end of summer. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back into On Deck again, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Really do appreciate it. If you would do us a big favor and just like the video, that does help us a ton. Get it out there to Braves fans. We really, really would appreciate it. And of course, if you have a baseball friend out there that enjoys the game, enjoys the Atlanta Braves, enjoys Major League Baseball in general, please tell them about this channel. We really would appreciate that. The bigger this community gets here, the better this content's going to be, I assure you. So we're trying to improve every day, but we need you to do it. So please do tell your friends about us. And of course, continue to like the video, continue to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And of course, hit the bell for notifications so that you know the moment we go live, the moment we drop new content. Speaking of new content, I actually put a video out there earlier today about Marcel Ozuna. And I titled it, a lot of you guys picked up on what I was putting down, but I titled it Undesirable to Undeniable. And of course, that's flat out ripping off Cody Rhodes. So Cody, if you're out there, I apologize. But it's true. Marcel Ozuna, when you look at where he is right now, he has gone from undesirable to the highest degree to undeniable. You cannot deny what he is doing this year. 9 homers, a near 340 batting average. I'm pretty sure it's north of that. He's leading the MLB in RBIs as of before today. I mean, the guy's been flat out great. And when you look at what we talked about in the last section of the show, we talked about how the offense hasn't been there for a lot of guys. Marcel Ozuna's been the one constant. Travis d'Arnaud had a stretch, but Marcel Ozuna has been constant so far this year. Now, do I expect that to last? We talked about that last week. I don't know, but I have to acknowledge it when it's prevalent, and it's prevalent right now. The guy is performing to a great degree, and I am so happy for him. Now, that said, this is the real question. Should the Braves re-sign Marcel Ozuna? If you had asked that question 2 years ago, you would have gotten a whirlwind of answers. You would have gotten a lot of boos if you were at the home crowd. Let me restart that. Should we re-sign Marcel Ozuna? If you had asked that question a couple of years ago, you would have gotten a whirlwind of answers. Specifically, most of them ending in no with an expletive before it. Because Marcel Ozuna had overstayed his welcome with Braves fans, right? He wasn't performing on the field. We've already discussed that. He had all the off-the-field issues. We know what those are. And Braves fans were sick of it. They were tired of it. And whether that's right or wrong, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think at one point, well, if the Braves do decide to DFA him, I'll understand it. Man, how foolish would we look now, right? How foolish would we look? And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I didn't think it, because it was this downward spiral that seemed to never end until it did. And last year, I remember talking in the beginning of the year, and I was addressing a topic about Marcel Ozuna potentially getting released, right? Because that was the big topic at the time. And I told you guys, you're really going to regret it if you DFA him and all of a sudden the Phillies pick him up and he's the World Series MVP. And I got a lot of scoffs, I got a lot of laughs, I got a lot of "you're crazies." Doesn't seem so crazy anymore. In fact, I told my friend that same thing in the beginning of this year. We were all watching the Braves together. I think it was on opening day, and Marcel Ozuna came up and he said something discouraging about him, probably similar to some of you guys or similar to some folks But I told him, okay, but when the World Series comes around and that guy's hitting on all cylinders, I don't want to hear any cheering out of you. And he just looked at me. That's where we find ourselves. Marcel Ozuna has won the crowd back over. And in a day and time where anything gets you canceled for life, that's really refreshing to see. The guy has made a great turnaround on the field, off the field, and if nothing else, he's been a great teammate. We heard Travis d'Arnaud talk about that the other day, and I don't want to miss that. Travis d'Arnaud spoke very highly of Marcel Ozuna, saying he's honored to be his teammate. He's a great hitter. He's a great teacher. And you know what? Travis d'Arnaud flat out credited his success lately to Marcel Ozuna. So for me and my money, who am I to question Marcel Ozuna ever again? Who am I to ever question it again? Because all the while the Twitter posts were made, the Facebook posts were made, all the while that was happening, he was getting booed in the stadium. I was there, I remember it. All the while, you know who did believe in him? Brian Snitker, Alex Anthopoulos, the Braves organization. And you can ask yourself why that is. It may be the fact that they have money put into him, and that's true. But at the same time, they have followed him through this turnaround, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. And Marcel Ozuna deserves a lot of credit for that. It's nice to know that he's turned himself around. And, every time we talk about bringing Trevor Bauer to the Braves, every single time, the question's going to come up. Well, we have Ozuna. He's a problem. Is he? Is he anymore, or is that a dated comment? Because to me, it's starting to seem dated. And it's not just because of his performance on the field. It's in large part due to his clubhouse. It's in large part due to his clubhouse energy. And, again, I couldn't be happier for him. I'm happy this turnaround's happening. I'm happy he's getting the credit he deserves. Because, to be honest with you, I thought he should have won the Silver Slugger last year. I thought that he got missed over for that for a variety of reasons. And maybe he'll get it this year. He's on a crazy pace. I did the math the other day. This is irrelevant now. But he has 9 homers through 26 games. It's going to put him somewhere around 60 homers on pace for it. Now, whether or not he gets it, I don't know. But even if he gets 50, he got 40 last year. He seems to have gotten better year after year. Yes, he struggled after 2020. We all know that. But the fact that he has worked hard to get back to where he needs to be says a lot. He's changed his approach too, right? We went through it in that video I dropped earlier where baseball savant, his whiff rate's down, his chase rate's down. And all the while, he's looking at better pitches, he's getting better pitches, and everything else is going up. And that's a great thing for Marcel Ozuna. And again, I could not be happier for him. So let me know what you think about Marcel Ozuna in the comments section. But this is what I'm going to say about whether or not the Braves should re-sign him. They don't have to. He does not have a mutual option. He has a team option for this next year. So the Braves could bring him back for $16 million, no problem. Marcel Ozuna did recently come out and say that he hopes that, he could re-up with Atlanta because he doesn't have a guaranteed year beyond this year. He doesn't want to go into the offseason with an uncertainty, right? And that's honestly kind of nice to hear. He wants to be here. And before you say, well, of course he wants to be here, Tyler, look at all we have. I don't even think it's about that. I think this is where he feels comfortable. I think this is where he has the guys who were behind him through probably the hardest stretch of his life. And I think he wants to be here because this is where he feels like he's home. And you know what? For me and my money, I said this the other day, but name me a better DH right now. Name me a better guy at the plate right now. Name me a guy who you're going to get to give you this kind of performance for $16 million. So yes, of course I'll take the option. In terms of re-upping, in terms of signing a new deal, I don't know that that's in the cards. I don't know that the Braves view that as a priority right now. But it may happen, right? Maybe a 2-year deal, right? Next year and the year after. Maybe 2 years, $32 million, $16 million a year. And, he's proven himself last year, if not this year, but last year he proved himself. He's proved that he's on a turnaround. And the Braves are finally reaping the reward of sticking with him. And, we've talked about this pretty extensively on the channel, but I will eat my words from a couple of years ago completely because that guy has proven me wrong. He's proven a lot of Braves fans wrong. He's proven a lot of baseball wrong. And, again, I could not be happier for him. So with that out of the way, guys, when we get back, we are going to get to your comments. We really appreciate you tuning in tonight. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date with everything going on here on deck and, of course, with your Atlanta Braves. We'll be right back.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into GLYNN Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off. And the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at GLYNN Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
It's truck season at GLYNN Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $6,750 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $8,500 off. No payments until the end of summer. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, guys, and thank you again for tuning in tonight. Remember, this is your home all throughout the season to tune in to Braves content. We really appreciate you being here tonight, but we hope you'll be here every time we're live, so make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications if you have not already. But we are going to get into your comments real quick. We're going to get as many as we can. We got to be out of here in the next few minutes, so again, we're going to get to as many as we can, but hopefully we get to all of them. Let's see. Knight says, what's up? Says, the Guardians got smoked. Yasuke Knight says, nice comeback win for the team today. Go Braves. The Critical Thinker says, let's go Bravos. Terminix says, chop on. Knight says, chop on. Scooter Puff says, we were one sack fly away from sweeping the team with the best record in baseball. I'm feeling pretty good about it, especially since we're doing all this without our top guys hitting on all cylinders. Our top guys may not be hitting on all cylinders, but you know what is? The way we go about business. Orlando Arcia had a phenomenal play at second base, and that's just baseball mindset. That's all that is. That's not any more talent. That's not any more speed. It's not any more strength, any of that. That is baseball quickness. J-Ram had the base stolen fair and square. He came off the bag. Orlando got him, and that was a phenomenal play. And great on d'Arnaud to get it in there quick, but Orlando Arcia with a heads-up play there. That's what the Braves are doing. Yes, they're hitting when needed, but they're playing smart baseball. And, you know, in a year that we haven't seen Ron Washington on the Braves, that's nice to see it carry over. Matt Tuiasosopo's done a great job. From what we've seen, I think he's fit well into the chemistry of the Braves. But you know, it's always going to feel a little different without old Wash. But that said, you know, like I said, the top guys may not be hitting on all cylinders, but our baseball, the way we go about our business, is doing very well, and that's what you like to see. And that's how you win when your top guys aren't doing great. That's how you win when your pitching's not doing great. You get the fundamentals down, right? And so far, the Braves have been able to do that. Oren Griswold says, I think they will or should start bringing up Smith-Shawver and or Hurston Waldrop for a month at a time to allow each starter to skip a start every now and then. That may come at some point. I think right now they're going to experiment with Bryce Elder as the fifth guy. But the spot starts are going to happen at some point. They happened last year. They'll happen this year. In terms of Hurston Waldrop, I think you might be a little bit early on that. I definitely think Smith-Shawver, Darius Vines, even Dylan Dodd could be a factor. But while we're talking about pitching prospects, I wanted to mention, you guys, if you don't know him already, you really ought to check out Owen Murphy. We've interviewed him on the channel. You can go check that out. Great kid, by the way. He's in single A right now, I believe. He's probably on his way to double A because he had a great appearance the other night. I think he had like a no-hitter through 7 innings. He doesn't have overwhelming speed or velocity, but what he does have is good breaking stuff, and the guy was phenomenal, and it's good at any level to do what he did the other night. So go check him out. It's a good person to get to know for the future of the Braves. Again, Owen Murphy. Also check out our interview with J.R. Ritchie. And if you want to check out a Mariners prospect, I know we're getting ready to play them, check out my buddy Cole Phillips. All those interviews are on the channel. They're from last year, so you may have to go back a little while, but they are on the channel. If you search Owen Murphy, Tyler Redmond, I'm sure it'll come right up. But yeah, that guy did great the other night, and I'll tell you this, he's a super humble guy because I'm a nobody when it comes to the Braves. I just talk about him. But I interviewed him once. I texted him the other night, told him great job, and he texted me right back, said thank you so much. That's who Owen Murphy is. You ought to go check him out, look at some of his highlights, and just keep up with him because he's the future. I firmly believe that. I think Hurston Waldrop is too, and so is J.R. Ritchie. But those guys are our future, and the way things are looking with our pitching staff right now, you know, it may not be that long. You know, so we'll see. Oren Griswold says, if the offense plays at full potential, our pitching will be just fine. That's a big if, Oren, and I'm going to tell you why that's a big if the offense plays at full potential. Remember the playoffs last year? It's just a big if. I need the pitching to be locked in at all times for me to feel comfortable after the past 2 years, right? The offense went absolutely dead these last 2 years. So we'll see what happens, but that's my take on it. I am more concerned about the pitching than I am the offense. Like you said, if the offense is going to be at full potential, we're going to be fine. But I need to know that if the offense isn't there, the pitching's going to have it handled. Because a run or two is going to get across the board at some point on this Braves team. I still don't believe... Yeah, they have not been shut out through 26 games this year. But that all said, I still want to see the pitching have it locked in. I don't want to see the Braves win 6-5. I want to see them win 6-2. Right? That's how I view it. But we'll see. Jake Hobby says, hopefully Riley will get hot after getting 2 hits today and would like Acuna and Olson to get going by L.A. this weekend. I think the bright lights of L.A. are going to have an effect on Acuna. I think he's going to have a real positive week going forward. At least I hope so. I mean, the guy, he hasn't been playing bad. It's just the homers. You know, that's been the one thing that's been kind of not going for him, but... You know, time will tell on that. I pinned this in the chat, I believe. We got some new merchandise. I just want to let you guys know we have a new website that we are selling merch, On Deck merch through. It is through Spreadshop. Yeah, Spreadshop, I believe now. They got better stuff. We put some stuff out last year that was good, but we wanted to upgrade. Check out this brand new On Deck hat. I bought it because look at it, it looks great. It's a rope cap. There's shirts there. There's polo shirts. Anything you want, go get them. They're on that shop right now. I pinned a few. I just wanted to point that out. These hats are great. They're well made. They're one size fits all. And I absolutely love the look of it. I wore it today. And, yeah, it looks absolutely great. So if you want to represent On Deck, please do that. The shop is down below. Really would appreciate seeing some of you guys at the ballpark wearing some On Deck merch. If I see you wearing an On Deck merch, you're getting a shout-out on the channel. I'm just telling you, that's going to happen. Let's see. Matthew says, Tyler, do you think Acuna should skip winter ball next offseason after this slow start? Playing baseball year-round can be very stressful on the body. I don't disagree with you. I mean, they say that about young kids. You know, you should play all sports, not just one sport all year long. In terms of Acuna, I mean, like he said on his Instagram, he did it last year and he won the MVP. So it's hard to know. I think a lot of this is it's not necessarily on the body. I think it's just more... You know, I think he's going to change his swing one day and magically stuff's going to start working. I mean, it's just, you know, baseball is a game of adjustments, small adjustments that we and you might not even see. So, for me, I don't think it's anything like he's not healthy. I think it's just a matter of he's got to get his swing right, you know, or back to what it was last year. And, guys, you got to think he's got all this pressure coming from last year winning the MVP, to do it again. And, you know, until he knocks that off, it's, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be at this point. But, no, I don't think it's his body. I really just think it's a matter of an adjustment. Let's see. Yui says, Trump did have some alarming moments that inning, but is that something I will worry about from our technical third-string catcher? Probably not. Yeah, I mean... Trump is kind of anything he does is gravy in a way right now. Like, I just hope he can manage the game well. He had some pass balls today, which were a little concerning, but third-string catcher, he's probably not ever going to play in the major leagues for any length of time, you know, beyond injuries. So I'm not really concerned about it. The only time we're probably going to see him if both catchers are healthy is, you know, on a taxi squad roster. I mean, that's where he stands at the moment within the Braves organization. Is it fair? Maybe not, but it's where he stands. So, I mean, I've thought he did a very good job based on what my expectation level was. Could he manage a game? Could he handle a pitching staff? And could he be a good catcher? So far, he's been all right. I don't think he's been bad at all. I would like to see him, you know, be a little bit more like Sean Murphy behind the plate, but what are you going to do, right? He's not Sean Murphy. He's Chadwick Trump. So it just is what it is. The Critical Thinker says we should give Ozuna a 2-year, $30 million contract. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Like, you know, he wants to be locked in for the next couple of years. Maybe you save some money. You give him a $16 million deal this year because that's his option, and then you sign him to a 14-year, you know, and 26, I guess that would be. But, you know, the Braves also do have a reason to be hesitant. Last time they signed him to a deal, it didn't exactly go well for the first couple of years. So, I mean, they may have some hesitance. They may want to see him, you know, a little further. But if he wants to be here, I want him here, you know, at this point. And to be honest with you, 2 years ago, I would have never thought I'd say that. But he won me over. Yui says, Trump, since the injury to Murphy, has been fantastic as a backup option. Wouldn't read into that inning too much. Yeah, he had one bad inning. I agree with you. He's been good for what we've needed him to be. Scooter Puff says, I think the thing people are forgetting about Trump is that he's a third-string AAA catcher. People are holding him to a pretty insane standard from what I've seen on social media. Guys, I exist on social media. People hold me to high standards too, right? I mean, you can't buy into 9 out of 10 things you see on Twitter. But my point to that is saying that Chadwick Trump has probably met and exceeded any expectation that the Braves front office had on him for this stretch of time. Can you just fill the spot? Don't make any critical mistakes. Don't be terrible. If you make one mistake, okay. That's where he stands, and that's pretty good, you know, for what he's done. I'll take my chances with him if I needed it. Let's see. A lot of talk about Chadwick Tromp, which is not what I thought was going to be in the comment section today. The Critical Thinker says, Ozuna's story of redemption has been amazing. I absolutely agree with you. That's why I spent so much time on it, not only tonight, but also this past Thursday night. That video is on the channel. Again, Marcel Ozuna, undesirable to undeniable. Would really appreciate you going to check that out. We took a deep dive into his turnaround, and would really appreciate you guys going to check that out. Miguel Frica says, if Alex Anthopoulos gets rid of Contreras and Grissom, then he has to pay Ozuna. Well, you know, that logic's a little flawed in the sense that, I mean, he traded Contreras, you know, to get something he felt he needed, you know, in Sean Murphy. And he traded Grissom for something that I think has been a great move so far, based on what we know. Grissom, I think, is still hurt. I mean, granted, you can't predict that, but Chris Sale's been amazing. That's what we needed. We didn't need a Grissom, right? And I don't think the Braves necessarily mind paying Ozuna next year or the year after. I just don't think they mind paying him because they know what they're going to get. They didn't necessarily know what they were going to get out of Grissom. I mean, that's my take on it, at least. Yui says, honestly, Ozuna as a hitter has always been good. He just had that slump of off-field and a rough start. The fact that you have a DH now, it's just perfect for him. Yeah, I think he's a perfect DH candidate, and when they signed him, they knew baseball was heading in that direction because we knew baseball was headed in that direction. It just took the COVID season to make it happen, right? Because I was sitting here going, we're going to have this guy in left field for the next 4 years? I don't think so. But look how it's aged. You know, they added the DH, and it's been, you know, great ever since, really. Matthew, Tyler, do you think Ozuna keeps this up? Okay, do you think if Ozuna keeps this up, MLB would give MVP to a DH? I think he would only be projected to have a 5 WAR if he hits like this all season. Look, I don't view the DH as any less important to the team as a first baseman or second baseman, third baseman, outfielder. They're a fundamental part of the team now. You can't be biased against somebody for being a DH when you've introduced the position in not only one league but both. It's not taboo anymore. DHs are making the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz, I think, won an MVP. Or he should have won an MVP by now, I would hope. I just don't think you can justify a guy who hits, let's say he hits, and I don't think this is going to happen, but let's say he hits 50 homers and 340 average. Dude won the MVP. Sorry. No question. I mean, unless somebody else hit 350, played third base, and, you know, hit 60 homers. I don't know. But I don't think you can, I mean, it depends on who it is, right? Like, Shohei pitching and hitting is great, and it should have won him the MVP when he won it, but I mean, I don't think playing the field, especially for like first base, is that drastic of a thing to where a guy who hits the way Ozuna's hitting, if he does it all year, shouldn't win the MVP because of it. I just don't think you can be biased like that. At least I'm not. I mean, I know every voter's different. The Hall of Fame is proof of that. But I don't think that. I think it's a case-by-case basis. Like, Mookie Betts probably would have won the MVP any other year if Ronald Acuna didn't go 40-70, right? Shohei Ohtani would have won the MVP last year, or the year before last, whenever it was, when Judge hit 60 X homers, whatever it was. I know he beat Maris's record. But Shohei Ohtani wins it over Judge any other year based on what he does, right? So it's a case-by-case basis. It's who did the best this year, right? Some years you have better MVP chases than others. But if nobody's close to Ozuna offensively, yeah, I think he wins the MVP. But it's too early to tell. We're only 26 games in. We have 162 of these things, so I think we have somewhere around 130 games left, maybe a little more. But for me, I don't. It's too early to say whether or not he'll win the MVP. I'm just happy he's performing the way he's performing. He's made the turnaround. He's proven himself, and he's back to being who he's supposed to be. Chris Kaysen, let's go to you. Let's see. Oh, wow. A lot of you guys in the chat tonight making it jump. Let's see. Chris Case and Bryce Harper won the DH award last year for Silver Slugger. Totally snubbed Marcel Ozuna. I agree. I've pushed that notion. I completely agree. And look, I mean, to me, the awards don't mean everything. They matter in your baseball reference. They matter for the Immaculate Grid. They matter for a Hall of Fame candidacy sometimes. I mean, yeah, they matter. But to me, like, they don't necessarily represent who is actually who every time. They're not a perfect system, right? I'm not going to say anybody doesn't deserve it. Harper had a good year last year. I just think Ozuna had a better one. Keep in mind, I'll use this example, and this is probably an overused example. Nolan Ryan does not have a Cy Young award. The dude has 7 no-hitters, does not have a Cy Young award. Let that one sink in. Just say it. So, no, I don't think awards mean everything. I think they mean something, but I don't think they mean everything. Yui says, Ozuna this year, 17.4% strikeout rate, which is 3% below what he averaged the last 5 years, and he's had the highest base on balls percentage in his career. There you go. That's what changed. He's having better pitches. His strikeout rate's down. His base on balls is up. He's not swinging at balls in the dirt anymore. That's what changed. We talked about that in that video I dropped earlier. Matthew, Tyler, did you know the Diamondbacks turned down our trade offer of Ozuna for Mad Bum? Nationals turned down Ozuna for Corbin, and Marlins turned down Ozuna for Soler. Do you think they regret it now? It's tough to say. I definitely think the Mad Bum one they probably regret. For Soler, it's tough to say. I mean, Ozuna could, let's say... You heard it. But let's say Ozuna fell off tomorrow, right? Let's just say that happened. I mean, how much would they regret him having a great surge at the beginning of the season for 26 games and then not doing anything the rest of the year? So everything's relative. But in terms of Mad Bum, yeah, I would agree with that. For Patrick Corbin, yeah. The Nationals are so out of it anyway. They don't want to pay Ozuna. The Marlins are kind of in the same boat. They're kind of out of it, though. So I don't know how much they regret it. It may just not have been in their best interest financially more than anything. So it's not necessarily because I think the Marlins would be happy to take Ozuna if he wasn't making what he's making. Chris Kaysen says, Minter, if he stays aligned and pitching well like he's doing, he'll get a great payday for sure. He's very valuable for so many teams. I completely agree. And he's been very underrated for some years outside of Atlanta, and I think ultimately, you know what? I think out of everybody, I think Minter may be the most likely to come back to Atlanta, just based on the way he loves the team, he loves the atmosphere. I believe he owns a title belt with the Braves championship. I think he has one of those. I think he's very in tune with Atlanta. But he may leave. I don't know. The Critical Thinker, Tyler, how do you think we stack up to the Dodgers? Their top 4 are scary good. Well, of course they are. They're good every year. I think we're just as good as the Dodgers, if not better. And I've thought that all year. I've thought that last year. I still think it. So the Dodgers are good. They're always going to be good. They have a payroll. But when you compare our payroll to their payroll and our product to their product, I don't see a lot of difference. And to be honest with you, I don't see enough of a difference to justify what they're paying. I mean, they're paying between 2 players over, $1 billion? Keep them. At that point, keep them. I don't want them. No 2 players are worth that, in my opinion. But, what do I know? Let's see. Chris Kaysen says, Braves bias to the side. I would, in my opinion, still take the Braves offensive lineup every game over the Dodgers lineup. I agree. Matthew asks, Tyler, did Glenn Smith give you a Chevy to drive as part of your sponsorship deal? That's actually pretty common with car sponsorships. Michael Harris got a Ford Bronco and my friend got a Subaru. Here's the thing, right? I'm not Michael Harris. I don't justify that quite yet. Maybe one day. I should have probably asked for it in my negotiations. Maybe next year. Maybe if the channel gets a little bigger, we can get me a Chevy to drive around. But yeah, very happy to have Glynn Smith Chevrolet with us for this season. They've been great and encouraging us throughout the year. Big sponsors for us, and thrilled to have them on board for sure. Let's see. Will be a Braves hitter this year to hit a home run over 500 feet? If so, who do you think it would be? I say Ronald Acuna. Over 500 feet, I'm going to go with Ozuna. And I know he's the popular pick right now, but that's not why. His hard hit rate is higher than anybody's. Always has been. So if anybody's going to do it, I think it'll be him. But there's one guy that I think could hit it over the chop house, and that's Matt Olson. That's how I feel about it. Let's see. Trying to navigate through y'all's conversations tonight. Matty F says, I will say that our pitching is looking really good this year. Bats are just cold at the wrong time. Bases loaded with no outs and not capitalizing is a letdown. Yeah, but the Braves have been guilty of that for some years, right? I mean, they've been, kind of up and down every year. They've had left on base. I mean, I think they had like 10 left on base the other night, and they still won the game. So it happens. I mean, it just is what it is. The pitching is looking good. I still think there is a high possibility that the Braves target somebody at the deadline. There's just not a lot available right now. And I'll show you what I mean, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. If you'll give me a second, I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. When I say there's nothing available, I'm going to show you my process for how I handle the trade deadline and the trade market, because I have to narrow stuff down. And this is about the best science that I've gotten, is making literally an Excel spreadsheet and laying out what I think, a Google Sheet spreadsheet because I'm cheap, and laying out, sponsored by Glynn Smith Chevrolet, laying out what I think, who's off the board in terms of competition this year, and who is on the verge and that kind of thing. Who may think that they need to, be done with it, or whatever the case may be. I should have had this prepared. I may not be able to do it, but I'll try. But basically what I do in a nutshell is on one column put who's out, who's their guys that we might want, and beyond that, just basically put something along the lines of, do we want them or not? Are they done after this year? Whatever the case may be. Do they meet the criteria for what we're looking for? And if they don't, then I eliminate them. If they do, then I circle them and I present the case to you guys. But that's how I do it. And I'm going to show you kind of how limited we are in options so far this year. I mean, you just don't have a lot. And granted, this has not been updated for a couple of days, so bear with me there. But I'm going to do what I can to show. And when I say teams are out of it, of course, it's way too early to say that the team is mathematically out of it. But I think the common sense perspective, we can say that a few teams are certainly out of it. The White Sox, the Marlins. You could argue the Astros. I'm not going to, because I just don't enjoy betting against those guys. But, basically the way I feel about it is this. When you look at the trade market right now, it's just too early for anything to really break through. And it just is. It's very, very early, and there's not a lot of options out there that I think are really even worth doing to some degree, because but you're about to see what I mean. Let's see, window capture. Sorry, guys, I'm literally live punching at the moment, so forgive me. So this is the I believe the mic was out, but let's see what we can do with that. Again, what you were looking at there is basically my breakdown of where we are currently, and I try to update this throughout the year. So let's try to take another look at that if we can. Maybe. Guys, I'm literally doing this. I have not prepared this at all, so bear with me. But this is what we're looking at. Again, these are your teams that are out of contention right here. These are when these guys are free agents, and this is basically how we navigate, what we think about certain guys. So if they're not highlighted, they don't matter, right? All these guys are free agents in like 2027, 2029, and these guys we don't have any interest in trading prospects for. Eric Fetty is the one on the White Sox that I kind of circled because the White Sox are not going to trade Garrett Crochet, for example. They're not going to trade, Michael Soroka is another one that you could possibly circle, but with a 7.5 ERA, I just didn't bother with it yet. On the other side, the more teams that get over here to this on the verge category, the more exciting this is going to get because more teams are going to fall from on the verge to over here, and more teams are going to fall to on the verge, and they're going to have to make a decision if they're a buyer or a seller at the deadline. Now, granted, with the expanded postseason, there's a lot less, reason to be a seller these days because more teams make the postseason. But the more teams that fall over here, the better off the trade market's going to be. But as you can see right now, the only options that I even see worth it are Eric Fetty, Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Trevor Williams. That's literally it. And I don't want to really get into the nitty-gritty of it beyond that because it's just too complicated, and I just don't think it's really worth it at this point. But that's basically where my trade deadline, that's where it's starting. We're 26 games in. We have till like late July, August to figure that out. But yeah, a lot of trade talk there, a lot of trade, look, an Excel spreadsheet's only as fun as you make it, right? But I like to go through that, just kind of helps me prepare in advance for what we're looking at the trade deadline. I still think the Braves are going to be going after starting pitching. They'd be dumb not to. But, we'll see. Jake Hobby says, MLB will be addressing the jersey problems, and the Marlins are the worst team with the White Sox sweeping Rays. Yeah, they were in my out of contention tab. In terms of MLB addressing the jerseys and uniforms, that's it's about time. Number one, it's really about time. But I can't speak to it necessarily. I don't wear the uniforms every day, but I've heard the players complain enough to realize how much of a problem is. The critical thinker, Tyler, I know it's early, but do you think we need to start thinking about extending Albies? I've been thinking that. He's going to want more money than $5 million he's making currently. I just can't see Ozzy playing for another team. I definitely think that we need to at least start the conversation of extending Ozzy Albies. Because I'm going to be real with you. If you gave me the option of extending Max Fried this year or extending Ozzy Albies, I'm taking Albies. Because I don't think Fried's as, fundamental to the team as Ozzy is. All due respect to what he's done in the Braves uniform, I just think Ozzy is such a fundamental factor. And if you extend Ozzy, your likelihood of keeping Acuna just went up. Your likelihood of keeping the team as long as you have it just went up. And look, they gave him a team-friendly deal. They need to give him an Ozzy-friendly deal. That's the way I feel about it. I'm going to mark that for a short, if I can. What was that? What mark was that? That was right at an hour. So we're gearing up to get out of here in just a few minutes. Remember, Super Chats are how you get priority in the comments section. Just for those of you that don't know, that is how we determine if you Super Chat, you're front in line. I answer yours automatically. Matty F. says, I think Ozzy has too strong of a relationship with his teammates to leave. He doesn't seem like the type of person to get greedy and then leave when he doesn't get what he wants. I agree, but I still think they need to go ahead and handle it, whatever it may be. UGA Rules says, Mr. Columbus himself, Tyler Redmond, my favorite Braves content creator. Well, thank you. I don't know who you are based on your username, but thank you. If I know you, good to see you. The Critical Thinker says, I certainly hope so. Yeah, Ozzy Albies, I think, is going to be here for a long time. I certainly hope so. Like you said, I certainly hope so. But, we'll have to see how it goes. UGA says, I think Bregman is a free agent. However, we don't need him, especially if we have the guy who won us the Cleveland series, Austin Riley, 27. Yeah, I mean, in terms of position players, I think we're pretty much set for a while. I still think starting pitching is going to be our target. And like I said, when it comes to the trade deadline, it's too early to say anything now. I'm just kind of getting everything organized and circling who are guys, number one, that we would want, who are guys that are free agents coming up soon that they will feel okay with getting rid of, because that's really what it comes down to normally. There are some cases where things happen for no reason, but like Chris Bryant signing to the Rockies, what sense did that make? But I mean, it just is what it is. Guys, we are going to go ahead and toss to one last break. When we get back, we're going to close it out and answer any last-minute questions you have. But till then, we'll be right back.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off. And the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $6,750 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $8,500 off. No payments until the end of summer. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
All right, we're getting ready to wrap it up here, but one last look ahead to this series with the Seattle Mariners. Who will be pitching? Number one, it will be in Game 1, Max Fried taking on Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller is 3-2 on the year. He's got a 2.22 ERA, 29 strikeouts. He's been pretty good. In Game 2, Ronaldo Lopez will square up against Luis Castillo. Castillo 2-4 on the year, 4.15 ERA. Remember when everybody wanted us to sign him? But he does have 42 strikeouts. He's been all right. Chris Sale will take the mound in the third game of this series against the Mariners. He is 3-1 on the year. He's been great for the Braves. Emerson Hancock will be his opponent. 3-2 on the year. He's got a 5 ERA. Hopefully the Braves can get to him. Maybe Matt Olson will hit one out of the park, considering it's a righty-lefty matchup, but hopefully that'll be the case. What I would like to see over these next few days is probably very similar to what you would like to see, and that is this offense wake up. I want to see this offense look like the offense that I know it was last year, and I think hopefully that'll happen. If it doesn't happen in this series, I really hope it happens against the Dodgers, because what a time for that to, come alive. That all said, guys, one last time, we really do appreciate all you guys tuning in tonight. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for, if you subscribe tonight, thank you for hitting the bell for notifications, all that stuff. But please remember to support the channel. There's multiple ways you can do that. The easiest, arguably the best way is by liking the video and, of course, subscribing to the channel. You can buy On Deck merch. We have this available. We pin this. We have shirts available, all that stuff. I'd love to see you around the ballpark wearing this. It would just make my day if I saw somebody at the park get caught on camera wearing one of these. I'm sure the Braves would absolutely love it, but I know I would. That all said, we really appreciate the support, and again, there's multiple ways to do that. The On Deck shop is a way. You can check us out on Apple and Spotify podcasts. You can check out our friends at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. They have been great sponsors for us, and happy to have them on board for the 2024 season. And of course, we're going to be with you guys all throughout the year this year. So one last time, really appreciate you watching, but please make sure you subscribe just so you're up to date with everything going on here at On Deck. For one last time, I'm Tyler Redmond. Please do follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My handle's down below, and we'll see you next time right here at On Deck.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off. And the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ. Discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV Chevy Traverse. Discounted up to $6,750 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $8,500 off. No payments until the end of summer. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Tonight's show was presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.